We've talked a little bit about the influence of and the concentration of power according to the Democrats and the concentration of influence according to the Republicans. I just kind of wondered, excuse me, this is directed at the Democrats. Is there ever going to be a point in society where we think the inequality is too great, or are we already at that point?
It's already at that point, which is why we're so concerned, which is why we're looking at candidates like Bernie Sanders to try and help reform that system. And I think we think that it's already there.
I also think it's really important to think about the fact that the United States has the highest rate of child poverty that we've ever had, except for during the Great Depression. So we're not in a good place. People are starving, and we don't necessarily realize this because when you're in a place of privilege, you don't necessarily understand how millions and millions of Americans are living. Okay. And so I think it's important to realize that we already are at the point we need to reform the system in order to make sure that people can survive.
Okay, thank you, Jordan. Republicans, would you like to respond? Is there going to be a point? I mean, I know you initially said that income inequality isn't so great right now. Is there going to be a point in our future, do you think, if wealth gets too concentrated?
I'd say it's up to the individual. There were the Occupy Wall Street protests in response to the 2009 crisis. I think that in a capitalist society, people can move up and down. You're not stuck in your current financial thing. There was a study that said 70% of Americans will be in the top 20% of income, at least for at least 1 year of their life. It gets narrower as the percentile decreases, but I think that's one of the great things about this country is you can move up as well as down. You're not stuck for the rest of your life in one place.
I agree completely, Gray. You can definitely move up and down, but at what point, if somebody, is there a point where somebody can move up too far? That's what I'm kind of asking. Is there going to be a point where it's too great, where he moved too far from everybody else?
Are you saying it's a bad thing for someone to continue to make money?
I mean, I was going to ask about this with private property later on, but if the concentration of wealth gets too great, I mean, this is going to change topics a little bit, but so private property, is somebody allowed to own a house? Yeah. Is somebody allowed to own an island? Maybe. Is somebody allowed to own Australia? Ooh, probably not. So like there are different levels. So I'm asking you, at what point should we stop it? Should we say probably not that wealthy, probably not that much money because everybody else in the planet?
I mean, if you're suggesting that when someone makes a certain amount of money that we automatically tax them excessive amounts, what's gonna?
We already have a progressive income tax.
Yes, which I do not agree with.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's already there.
Yeah. I mean, but if you are saying we should tax them even more, like increase it, it's...
I was just asking about the point. Is there a point? And if there's not, just say no.
I don't think so.
Do you guys want to respond to that?
Well, first of all, when it comes to taxes, I think it's important to realize that a lot of billionaires are getting out of a lot of their taxes because of different loopholes and different things that are only attributed to the top 1%. And so I think it's really important to realize that a lot of the problem isn't just that they're not being taxed enough, but a lot of that is because of the loopholes that they're able to find with their wealth.
Okay.
Well, yeah, there should definitely be a simpler tax system. I know Carly Fiorina wants to shorten it down to 3 pages because she said essentially 3 pages is only about as much as every American's going to actually read. So I agree with you on that. There are loopholes and it's complicated and it shouldn't be.
Well, for example, Bill Gates is worth $80 billion. Hypothetically, he could buy off every official in a small country and more or less own that country. Mm-hmm. But is the government going to step in and say, "Hey, you have too much money. We're going to take."
Some governments would step in, yes.
We need to cut you off at $5 billion, $10 billion, something like that. If that happened, he would leave and he would take all those assets with him. So we would lose all that tax revenue.